has inhabited present-day southeastern New England for over 12,000 years. In 2007, the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe was formally recognized by the United States government, and it is a true pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Chairman Cedric Cromwell.
Round of applause for Gary Davis, please. Chief Kevin Brown, thank you. We honor you on your land. Thank you, my friends, and good morning, tribal community. And it's a blessing for all the wonderful words of wisdom that have been said so far and that will be expressed upon us today. You know, language in itself is an economy, if you think about it. When we're able to communicate from an identity around who we are, and express things that are meaningful in words that respect and honor who we are as Indian people. You're stemming from a platform of greatness, right? Right? I can't hear you. Are we awake out there? Well, this is an exercise. We're going to do some crowd interaction. We're stemming from a platform of greatness, right? Right. All right. Okay, 10 jumping jacks. Everybody. All right, we're going to work out those pancakes that I didn't have. So anyway, it's very important around what Rez is doing. You know, I commended Gary and the team on Rez in Vegas, which I thought was very inspiring. And I tell you what, the energy was so amazing around tribal communities coming out as entrepreneurs, as business people, talking about economies that are important, that are sustainable, that are highly repeatable, and that are needed. If you think about this, you know, we talk about Indian country as a whole, and if you think about Indian gaming, how prosperous and successful it's been, and when you think about those economies that have been created, those dollars must be used in such a way that we provide equity funds, debt opportunities. We should be those investors when banks go around and do roadshows to grow capital and raise capital for the various very important programs and products and business lines that we look to implement within Indian country. That's an example of growing a GDP, a gross domestic product, of value of goods and services at a specific time that are measurable, that create an economy. That's actually a substantial glue, if you will, that unites us all around keeping that dollar, if you will, multiple dollars circulating within our environment, within our community, not one, not two, not three, not four, but multiple times. We've seen that in many traditions and cultures, in the Chinese culture, in the Jewish community, and many other prosperous communities that provide financial institutions today to America and to the world. And we as Indian country, if you think about economy by the word of rich and wealth, we had it all. We had every piece of the natural resources possible to us. We had trade, we had governance, we had the ability to grow our economies and prosper for our people. When I think about my people, the Mississippi Wampanoag people, 12,000 years in New England, you know, in 1760, the King of England recognized the authority of our tribe to create these economic codes and development. We developed this area called Route 151, which was an economic zone back in 1760, where there was trade and prosperity. We taught these first settlers about the whaling industry. You hear the word wampum, that was money, right? That backed the legal tender, and that was an economy that our people were responsible for. So when we think about who we are as indigenous people, when we think about who we are as Native American, as Indian country, you know, wealth and prosperity is not foreign to us. It's just an impact and a byproduct of what has happened through European impact to America. Now, it's very important to understand that, right? Because when we talk about these concepts, you know, and we look at some of the impoverished impact environments within Indian country, we lose sight sometimes as to who and what we are and why we are. And we can impact that change. We can definitely impact that change when we think about the very important economies and the very successful economies that have been created within Indian country. To create that glue, as I talked about, that gross domestic product around trade, goods and services and products within our own communities, and extend that throughout Indian country to other tribes around what's important, development goals. And we'll look beyond gaming to ensure that we have that spoke of opportunity. I look at it as a wheel, as a tire, if you will. If you look at that wheel on a bicycle, there's many spokes, and that's your distributed portfolio of business. And I think that distributed portfolio of business has to be something that's truly measurable. I'll keep going back to that statement about gross domestic product. I think that's really important as we look at opportunities such as like our own national bank. That as we develop businesses and we become prosperous, these dollars go into this bank to supporting investment-grade paper that is traded. Economic power is political power. Let's not fool ourselves. Economic power is political power. When you have the sustainable business power and you're able to implement and impact change in such a positive way, you can set that roadmap about what it is, where it is, why it is, and when it is, what we want to do. Those are 4 to 5 basic questions that we got to ask ourselves about each and every day when we embark upon economic development opportunities. What is it, where is it, when is it, how is it, and why is it? How does it relate to our core competencies of expertise? You know, I look at my tribe and I think about how long we've been there for 12,000 years. In our environment, the coastal waterways in the East Coast, we have almost 5 million visitors a day that come from Europe and Asia just to see the tribe and understand about the tribe and why is it the tribe and that very important distinct history. Those visitors have so much, you know, awe about us and understanding about us. And so the thought for us is, you know, coastal waterway cultural historical tours. You know, these travel tourism centers that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has been impacted so negatively with the economy and hasn't invested into that. And we've got a great buzz around that, so to speak. What I'm pointing out is at our fingertips around culturally who we are, there's opportunity around economic development and sharing those visions, if you will, with people that travel from other countries that want to understand about who we are. And it's that interaction that we can start to understand their message and their dollars and how they want to invest in us. Free trade zones. You know, we had a session yesterday, a panel yesterday, and we were talking about economic development. Section 17 is travel chartered corporations, the opportunity to have these LLCs in place that provide, you know, investment-grade opportunities in which banks begin to understand and equity funds begin to understand and start to say, hey, these are viable institutions that provide prosperity around economic growth, and you know, we can invest into these. And it's our business standards and best practices that we can share and implement so that the banking industry, the financial services industry, the equity funds begin to understand us and start to say, you know what, I understand sovereign immunity, and we can invest in a host of businesses that are generated from Indian country. And it's incumbent upon us to create standards that we employ, that we share best practices. So again, that gross domestic product, that economy, those dollars that matriculate amongst our communities and throughout Indian country continue to grow and prosper and reinvest for us and by us. I think these are very important messages, and again, economic power is political power. It's about each one teach one. Each and every time that we have an opportunity to share economic development and growth information, each and every time that we have a chance to create a financial economic advantage, we have to teach each and every one about it. Each one teach one. It's so important to share that message because you know something that I may not know as well as vice versa. And we together, with every finger clenched together as a fist, right, Chairman Stevens? Every finger clenched together as a fist creates strength, but when those fingers are separated, there's weakness. And I point out to Chairman Stevens because he's someone that represents strength in Indian country, someone that I truly admire. And you know, I always see the box and pose, and that's strength. And that's the energy that we have to continue with economic power, political power. As Gary Davis said, it's a new day. We got to remember what happened about yesterday to ensure that tomorrow is a better day. We have to improve upon ourselves each and every day. And in closing, I want to say I love you all. And let's keep the fight going. Let's keep those fists clenched. Home.